The movie begins with a woman who is caring for her bedridden husband. She stays home all the time, devoted to looking after him due to his physical condition. Each day she prays for his recovery, hoping that God will grant them a miracle. Her husband isn't paralyzed, nor does he have any clear medical diagnosis. He simply lies still, unable to move or speak. The village doctor had once told her that he should have recovered within 12 or 13 days after the incident, but now 16 days have passed without any progress. The couple has two small daughters, just 3 and 5 years old, too young to offer much help to their mother. One night, the girls tell their mother they are hungry, but after searching the house and finding no food, she has no choice but to send them to bed with empty stomachs. The following day, she visits the pharmacy to get more serum for her husband, but the pharmacist refuses to give her any more medicine until their outstanding bill is paid. Heartbroken, she returns home and, realizing they've run out of serum, tries to substitute it by mixing sugar with water and giving it to her husband. With no money left, she decides to seek help from her aunt. But when she arrives at her aunt's place, she learns the woman has been gone for a while and no one knows where she went. Discouraged, she returns home and shares everything with her husband. She vents her frustration, blaming his brother and mother for abandoning them, saying none of this would have happened if they had stayed. It's then revealed that her husband was shot during a fight after someone insulted his mother. The rumor that he fought in the war against the Taliban was false. He was wrongly accused, and that led to his current helpless state. The next day, while the woman is out, the children sneak into their father's room and begin pulling out the serum tube from his body. Thankfully, their mother arrives just in time to stop them. Not long after, Dmala visits their home to perform a prayer. But the woman gently declines, explaining that she cannot take part because she's on her period, and religious tradition forbids menstruating women from participating. Later, an air raid begins. The woman, along with her daughters and neighbors, runs to an underground shelter where they remain for several hours. When it's finally safe to leave, she rushes back home, relieved to find her husband unharmed. But just as she begins to feel a brief moment of peace, the sound of gunfire erupts again, and they must return to the shelter. While they're hiding, soldiers enter their house. They find her husband and examine him, but upon realizing he's Muslim, they leave him alone. However, they take his ring and watch before leaving. When the woman comes back, she discovers the house has been looted. Her husband's ring and watch are gone. But the most horrifying discovery awaits her outside. In the yard, she finds the bodies of 2 men and a young girl, neighbors who had been savagely murdered. After witnessing the horror in her yard, the woman sees that the mother of the murdered girl has gone mad from the trauma. Feeling like she can no longer survive in these conditions, the woman gathers her daughters and heads back to her aunt's old home, hoping for refuge. But when she arrives, a stranger answers the door and tells her she doesn't know where the aunt has gone and refuses to let them stay. With nowhere else to turn, the woman sits on the doorstep and refuses to leave. Eventually, the older woman gives in and provides her with the address where her aunt is now living. The woman finds her aunt and pours her heart out, telling her everything. Her aunt, in return, reveals that she too has lived through immense pain, so much that it's hard to even speak of. She tells her niece that she once had to kill her own stepfather to protect her mother and sisters from abuse. Now she lives quietly in a hotel, far from the judging eyes of society. Still overwhelmed by guilt, the woman returns home, and, realizing she can't bring herself to abandon her husband, even in his helpless state, sitting beside him, she begins to speak openly, almost like she's confessing, unloading years of bottled-up pain and sorrow. She tells him they've been married for 10 years, yet not a single day has felt joyful. Not even their wedding day, because he wasn't even there. He was off at war, and she had to sit alone beside his photo during the ceremony. She continues, recalling how the first 3 years of their marriage were spent in his absence, while she endured cruelty at the hands of his family. Even going to the bathroom was traumatic because of how his brothers treated her. She admits she doesn't even know why she's saying all of this. And then she begins to share her childhood trauma. She talks about how her father loved his quails more than he loved his own children. He even gambled on quail fights. One day, he lost a bet, and as a result, forced her 12-year-old sister to marry a 40-year-old man. Terrified she'd be next, she opened the cage and set all the quails free, only for a cat to kill them all. As she unburdens her pain, she realizes that her husband, lying silent, has never truly felt like a husband to her. In a moment of emotional collapse, she removes the serum from his mouth and walks out of the house. Later, she meets with her aunt again and tells her what she's done. Her aunt listens quietly and says, "He's your patient stone. That's why you feel like you can pour all your pain into him." That insight helps the woman understand why she finds comfort in talking to him even though he never responds. She returns home. For the first time in 10 years, she bathes him, tenderly caring for him, and even kisses him. Days pass, and she keeps speaking to him, but now not with frustration or sorrow, but with gentleness. Speaking becomes her therapy, her healing. Then Mala comes back to their house. Once again, the woman tells her she cannot take part, saying she's on her period, following religious rules. As the war grows more intense, soldiers flood the city. Fearing for her husband's life, she hides him in a secret spot within the house. But soon after, a group of soldiers shows up. They begin interrogating her, asking who she is, whether she has a husband, and who else lives there. Wanting only to protect her husband and avoid further trouble, she lies. She tells them she's a widow and that the house is her workplace, subtly implying she's a sex worker. They don't harm her, but as one of them leaves, he spits in her face. That night, she sits beside her husband once more and continues to speak, unloading more of her memories and pain. But the next morning, a sudden noise startles her. Fearing the soldiers have returned, she quickly hides her husband. To her surprise, it's one of the young soldiers who had been there the day before with his commander. This time he's come alone. Without saying much, he hands her some money, then forces himself on her. Powerless to resist, she submits. Afterward, the soldier leaves quickly, and she stumbles to the bathroom to wash herself. Later, she picks up the money he left behind and uses it to buy serum and food for her children. The following day, the young soldier returns. Again, he gives her money. Again, he takes advantage of her. After he leaves, she sits beside her husband and talks, thinking he's completely unconscious, unable to hear or respond. She speaks freely, even going as far as to say that the young man satisfies her more than he ever did. But mid-sentence, she catches herself, realizing the gravity of her words. Shame washes over her. She jumps up, grabs the Quran, and begins to read from it, begging God to forgive her. The next morning, she steps outside and notices something strange. The door to their house, long broken, has been quietly repaired. She realizes it must have been the young soldier. Sometime later, he returns again and insists on entering a room with her. Once inside, he removes his shirt, revealing cigarette burns and marks from gun cartridges all over his body. It becomes clear he too has endured terrible abuse during his time in the military academy. Touched by what she saw, the woman later visits her aunt and tells her about the soldier and what has been happening. When she returns home, she finds a bag full of fresh fruits and a golden necklace left behind by the young man. For the first time in years, she feels something stir inside her. Joy, peace, even a sense of femininity. She smiles. She feels human again. Later, she sits down and confesses everything to her husband. She tells him the truth, that he was never able to have children, and that their daughters are not biologically his. Then, something unexpected happens. Her words seem to ignite something in him. For the first time in years, he reacts. His body stirs with anger. A terrifying look flashes across his face, and he lunges at her, trying to strangle her in a sudden fit of rage. A struggle ensues. In a desperate moment, she grabs a knife and stabs him. He dies instantly. At that exact moment, the young soldier walks in and sees everything.